I can remember where it all began. 30 years ago, I was 7 years old, and I got this console with this game.
Introducing the next generation from Nintendo, New Super Mario World, created especially for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It's a bit more exciting, a bit more challenging, a bit more graphic, a bit more colorful, a bit more realistic, a bit more levels.
There are so many games that have been made, it's literally impossible to determine how many there actually are. It's estimated over 10,000 games are released on Steam alone each year. Over 1,600 games were released for the PlayStation 1, and the PlayStation 2, well, that's well over 4,000. NationalToday.com estimates there are over 5 million different games in existence right now. So maybe give yourself a little bit of slack. Those few hundred games you've been meaning to finish could have easily been a lot more. Still, a few hundred games is a lot of games, and it's a lot of time. And when it reaches a point where there's so many options, you don't know what to play. It's paralysis by analysis. And we jest about this. We joke about our backlog, but the truth is, it has some serious mental implications. It can loom over your life, calling you to address this commitment you've made, but yet you can't bring yourself to complete it. So in this video, we're going to go over 5 amazing tips to help you beat your backlog. And stick around for number 5 because it is by far the best and coolest tip of the lot. Tip number 1, cease buying digital games indefinitely. The reason I say that is when you buy a digital game, it's in your digital library and it's there forever unless the game gets delisted or you choose to delete it from your library and forego the financial investment that you've made in the first place. You see, Steam users have spent approximately $19 billion on unplayed games. There's a report from June 2024 that estimates that the collective value of unplayed games in the Steam users' libraries amounts to this ridiculous figure. This is simply to prevent the issue from getting worse, and it's probably a good place to start. If you're going to buy games, only buy physical games, and that brings me to point number 2. Cull your collection of massive, huge games that demand a huge time commitment. Now, there is an alternative to this, which is tip number 3. If you go through your collection and you have games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which demand a minimum of 60 hours of your time, maybe it's best to sell that game or trade it for another game that's a bit shorter, a bit more suited to your time. Media Research conducted a study where they found that about 1/3 of console and PC gamers engage in gaming for fewer than 5 hours a week, meaning they probably have very limited time to play games in the first place. And then we have tip number 3, which is a simple one. Have an acceptable benchmark for playtime for specific games where you feel that you've at the very least got your value out of that game. You might have a game that's story driven that you want to see through to the end, but then you might have a game that's a bit of a grind that has a lot of leveling up and equipment management. 20 hours in that game might be enough for you to feel like you got your money's worth. And speaking of getting your money's worth, that brings us to today's sponsor, Nobody. Here's a crazy notion for tip number 4. What if every game in your backlog doesn't even need to be played? What if it's a game that you're just happy to own, a game that you're just happy to have in your collection? For example, maybe you have Conker's Bad Fur Day on Nintendo 64. Maybe you're just happy to have that game because it's hard to find, it's a collectible, and it looks great on your display case. Maybe it's acceptable for some games to just be shelf queens and nothing more. Prior to the increasing insurgence of digital games, a study by the NPD Group in 2008 found that 11% of gamers have games that were purchased a long time ago and weren't even open from their shrink wrap. Oh, and at long last, we are at tip number 5. And this is my favorite and coolest one by far. And I'm doing it right now. In fact, I've been doing it since the moment I started my YouTube channel. Tip number 5 is start a YouTube channel and use those games as content for your YouTube channel. Now, there are several benefits to doing this. You actually start to play the games, you start to commit to them and take your time with them and take them for what they are. But way better than that still is you then enter into a community of like-minded people who share the passion for that game, with you. Now, I'm experiencing this with Final Fantasy VII. I'm playing it for the very first time at the age of 37 years old. And if you want to see what I think of that game so far, click on this video.